Kemi Bedenoch has confessed to being a snitch when she was at school. This is a story on page 3 of the Telegraph. What do you make of this?
Whoever is advising her hates her. And I think this whole relatability tour is going very, very, very badly.
Just have a listen to this for a second. Kemi Bedenoch making this admission to BBC's Emeril. Have a listen.
I wasn't just the swot in the class. I was the person who would say that person is copying notes from the other person. I was the tattletale in the class, like getting people into trouble. And I remember there was this extraordinary day. I was in, I must have been about 14 or 15. And I said, he's cheating. I stood up in the middle of the exam and I stood up and said, he's cheating. He's the one that's doing it. And that boy ended up getting expelled. And I didn't get praised for it.
Of course you didn't get praised for it. Esther, you started by saying you think the person who is advising her...
hates her. They hate her. This relatability tour is going very, very badly. Every headline I've seen about Kemi in the last week or so has been about something to do with not feeling Nigerian, or this story where she's basically a grass, which I don't care which part of the world you're from, nobody likes grasses.
Yeah.
Kemi Bedenoch is having a generational stinker of a PR run.
I stood up in the middle of the exam and I stood up and said, he's cheating. That boy ended up getting expelled.
You're proud of getting someone expelled? Look at the interviewer, bro is speechless. He looks lost for words. He looks like a guy whose girl has just tried to explain to him that when she says she doesn't want sweets from the shop, she actually wants sweets from the shop. I don't care how keen you were in school, yeah? No kid is standing up in the middle of an exam hall and calling someone out for cheating. You have to make these lies believable for people to like you, yeah? For me, the best part of this interview was seeing her lie about being popular.
I was a relatively popular kid at school.
Then admit that she was lying.
Why are you so unpopular back at school? You sound really...
I was...
And then make up a story to make it seem like she wasn't lying.
Someone did say to me...
It was the right thing to do.
Yeah, that you were the only person who'd ever have the girl.
There's nobody in any secondary school in this country that would act that way, let alone endorse that kind of behaviour from another student. All the people in this school must have been high as a kite. Also, look at this other interview.
Talking to the farmers here, I talked about how my grandfather was a farmer.
What the hell is that on the side of her lip?
They're raptors, they work hard.
Ew, bruv. Did no one review that before they went on the air? How did no one see that?
The leader of the Conservative Party just pissed off everybody, and I was reading through the comment section and I'm telling you it's everybody. Have a look.
I was the tattletale in the class. I wanted to be first in the class, and I've done all the work. And then there's some people who are copying notes and saying, why should they get away with it? And I remember there was this extraordinary day. I must have been about 14 or 15. And I said, he's cheating. I stood up in the middle of the exam and I stood up and said, he's cheating. He's the one that's doing it. And that boy ended up getting expelled.
Most people seem to be pissed off because she's a bit of a snitch, but also the fact that she's bragging about it. There's part of me that respects the fact that she wanted to work hard. You know, that's good. You wanted to work hard. Although it's incredibly unique to stand up in the middle of an exam and say, that guy's cheating. That is, that's a specialist move, that is. And yeah, she wouldn't have been very liked doing stuff like that, I can tell you that. I mean, at the same time, I do respect the fact that people shouldn't have been cheating. And I guess them cheating isn't very fair. But no, that's one way to make yourself unpopular. And by the way, have a look at the interviewer's face right now. He was shocked.
Why is every headline you ever see about Kemi Bedenoch just her saying the most insane things? I'm sure she's trolling us at this point, because they're all like, Kemi Bedenoch says that Joseph Fritzl made her not believe in God. Kemi Bedenoch says she no longer identifies as Nigerian. Kemi Bedenoch says the mitochondria is not the powerhouse of the cell, to calls it woke nonsense. Kemi Bedenoch says if you go down to the woods today, you'll get a big surprise. Kemi Bedenoch says that the horse meat scandal restored her faith in humanity. Kemi Bedenoch says that Anne Frank would have been a believer. Kemi Bedenoch says pretty much she would let Gemma know that she is a fat cunt, and the shoes that she gave her were not something she would particularly buy for herself. Kemi Bedenoch says, sorry to hear that your grandma passed away, yeah. Kemi Bedenoch reveals her favourite ever X Factor contestant, and it's not who you think. Kemi Bedenoch, her name has lost all meaning at this point. Maybe we're all Kemi Bedenoch in a way. What do you think?
It seems like Kemi Bedenoch is self-destroying. she's in self-destructive mode. So she's been going around giving a series of interviews, and it seems like she's got no clue where she's going or what she's doing. She's so desperate to please the right wing of the country that she has absolutely no idea what she's doing. So first of all, she says that she no longer identifies as Nigerian, and she's very happy to abandon the Nigerian Africanness as she is so eager to fit in with the white British people. Now, she says that she no longer identifies as a Nigerian, and she only now identifies as British, whatever that means, because we know Britain is made up of Scotland, Wales, England, Ireland, but she didn't specify whether she's which particular one she identifies with, but she just identifies as British. And it's interesting, she's been giving a series of interviews, and she was interviewed by Emeril. And in this interview, she says that she has always been a snitch. And it's no surprise there. And because what she said that when she was at school, she was a SWAT, and she was a telltale. And she saw this one boy, and this one boy was cheating during an exam. And she told on this boy who basically was expelled from the school. So she got another child expelled from school. Now, if you had somebody else expelled from school, you would not go round bragging about it, because that is not something to be proud of. Getting somebody's future destroyed, and she was still a child. She actually destroyed another child's future by being a telltale and destroying his future. And not only that, she sits with a journalist, with a flagship journalist, Emeril, and she says that she basically got this boy expelled from school for cheating in an exam. And not only that, the biggest thing that she regrets is that she did not receive any praise for telling on this boy. So she did it because she was looking for praise. Isn't this very telling? Isn't this very telling? But you know what they say? Give them enough rope and they will just destroy themselves.
Okay, so all of this Kemi Badenoch tomfoolery about, oh, I'm not Nigerian anymore, I'm an Essex girl. Okay, babes, first of all, you were born in Wimbledon, and then you spent a lot of your childhood in Nigeria. But look up her man. Look up Hamish Badenoch. It all makes sense.
Kemi has not seemed to realise that they are making fun of her.
I am definitely an Essex girl. That is a fact.
She hasn't clocked that this is a humiliation tour, because they fundamentally don't believe that this is even possible, because she's an African woman born and raised in Africa.
What does that mean?
Well, it means that I represent an Essex constituency. These are my people.
They are getting her to do this because they are laughing at her, almost to her face as well, which is kind of crazy. Like, for me, like, there's no misunderstanding here that this is a joke and that they're laughing at her and they're going to make her keep repeating things like this because they think it's funny.
I was a Londoner, but Essex people asked me to be their MP, and I want to make sure that I do them proud.
But that's how white supremacy cooks your brain, because Kemi Badenoch said that she renounces her Nigerian identity or her Nigerianness because she's British. But it's ironic because a couple of months ago, Suella Braverman, her coconut colleague, she said that she will never truly be British. And that's the thing, the fundamental tension between being an ethnic minority and being a white supremacist.
And I love this part of the world.
Because white supremacy has very strict rules for who can be included. And remember, it excludes other white people. It's willing to exclude other white people.
It's fantastic being here. It's a rural community, and I've been talking to the farmers here. I talked about how my grandfather was a farmer. It's very hard work.
So because they subscribe to that, they have to also reinforce the idea that they can never truly be British. Because if they didn't, then they wouldn't be white supremacists. But then you also get the other side of the coin to that, which is somebody like Kemi. Total disconnect. I'm not even joking. She's not right in her head.
The people of Essex and East Anglia, they are grafters, they work hard, and I want to make sure that we do right by them.
She is an example of what happens when cooning gets to a clinical level. Like, it has to be studied. You need to be medicated.
I am definitely an Essex girl. That is a fact.
What does that mean?
Well, it means that I represent an Essex constituency. These are my people. I was a Londoner, but Essex people asked me to be their MP, and I want to make sure that I do them proud. And I love this part.
In my personal opinion, I would think that whoever is in charge of Kemi's public relations, I mean her PR manager or PR coordinator or whatever, the person is doing a good work. Keep it up.